Hello? Does this thing work? This is the Peak Boredom Podcast.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, that one's in sync. Hi, welcome to the Peak Boredom Podcast.
Hi.
Today we have one of Inga's friend from Masters.
So this is Ayumi.
Hi, but I'm not in her class though.
No,
Oh,
we're not
sorry.
even in course.
I mean, in the same university.
Yeah.
We
So
all
I take ADT, she takes biotech.
Yeah, microbial biotech.
So we brought Ayumi here today because we think it'll be interesting to talk about her upbringing because she's one of those strange cases.
explain yourself.
I have Sri Lankan parents, but then I was brought up in Japan. I was born and raised there for 16 years. So everything.
She's Japanese.
I look Sri Lankan, but then my accent and everything comes from Japan.
The first time I met her, I was very confused because she said her name was Ayumi.
At least you didn't say Maggie or something.
Like, my name is Marissa, and then an Asian kid comes in.
Like, wait, but your name's in English.
My
What's your
name is
real
Marissa
name?
Irene, right? No, it's Irene. Shut up.
So what was it like growing up Sri Lankan in Japan?
Until 4th grade, when I was in primary school and kindergarten, there was racism and all that because obviously I look different from other in the class because of skin color and that's why I faced racism. But then as you grow older, like when you go to middle school and high school, people were more understanding.
That's weird because when I grew up in Germany, Germany with so I went to kindergarten there. The kids were actually nice because I had a different skin color. and then I went elementary to a German school too, and they got considerably meaner, especially because all my this is so bad. It's because my hair was definitely not blonde. It was super black, and my classmates were all blonde. So that's actually really interesting.
I have no idea why, but then people with different skin color, they associate all of them with Americans that bombed Hiroshima.
I mean,
Yeah, so every time and if someone looks foreign to them, they just call them America Jing. They just call them Americans. So they classify everyone as Americans because they associate everything with history and everything. That's why the bully and the racism come from.
I guess
But you live in a small town, right? Does this
Yeah.
happen in big cities as well?
I've seen YouTube videos where lots of foreigners in Japan face racism, and then
Yeah.
I went to one or two international schools. So my friends there were international, and they also faced the same things if they were of other skin color and everything. No matter what, they would face racism at least once in Japan. It's a common thing.
I think it's different because you lived in Japan while I went to Germany as an Asian. So I think that itself is different. The way they perceive your race is different there.
Oh.
But then
Yeah, maybe.
same thing, they get racist. They get worser on the end, or you kind of
Yeah.
don't notice it.
People call you names fried fish.
What?
Yeah, they call you fried fish.
Wait,
And
why?
Because I'm darker than them, right? So they call you burnt fish. Then they call you stuff all the bullying was related to racism, comments and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, because they never saw someone like you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because kids are not exposed to foreigners yet, right? Then when you go to middle school, high school, they were more understanding.
But you think that at a younger age group, people would be more accepting, right? Because kids don't really understand the concept of racism unless
No,
their parents
I
teach
think
them.
so. But then when to them I look different from other kids, right? So maybe that's why. What is this stranger? What is this organism?
I mean, I had a picture in kindergarten. I was the only Asian kid, and then everyone was white. I think kids are either super nice or they're hella mean. There's no in between.
if one person starts the thing, right, then everyone will agree and then they'll all make the jokes, right?
Yeah, so if you have that one kid who's like upbringing is, I guess, racist or like super one-sided, and then they are very influential, then you're doomed.
We had a friend who recently told us that when she was in primary school, because she had darker
Yeah.
skin than everyone else,
Hmm.
that they called her burnt chicken.
Yeah.
That's so mean.
Yeah, burnt chicken, burnt fish, everything related to burnt. So I called
Yeah.
them back pudding.
I had that in elementary. So everyone in my German school were either born in Germany or like half German or just something with German. I have German godparents, nothing in with blood. that they would call me Tempe because like I was the only Indo kid there.
That tempeh is from like Malaysia or Indonesia?
No,
No,
tempeh
it's
is a untangible Indonesian resource, I think,
Oh.
recognized by the UN.
Mhm, yeah.
I don't understand what the role of the UN is in this situation. But
Stay tuned for an episode. Yeah,
promotion.
I think they do that a lot when they call you names, but they don't really understand it.
They would call your names, but not with like deeper meanings or anything,
No.
so it was fine.
It's just like what you look like. Oh, you're
Mm.
Indonesian, you're a Tempe. It's like, wow, but you're like half Indonesian. So like, excuse me.
But did the teachers teach you differently, or was it?
No, the teachers were fine. Teachers are adults, right? So like they shouldn't be biased, right? mean-
I would differ, but yeah, mostly.
Yeah, I didn't face anything with the teachers like bias or anything. It's just the kid. If the popular kid is racist, then the other kids become racist too.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
But like you lived 16 years in Sri Lanka,
Yeah,
right?
no, in
No,
Japan.
in Japan, right? And then you said that you moved to Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Did people treat you different in Sri Lanka,
Yes.
knowing that you're Japan from
Yes.
Japan?
Yeah,
Because I can't speak the language.
like at all?
No, I can speak, but because I have an accent and people
Oh, yeah.
it's difficult to understand my Sinhala. So like when I spoke to people, like because when I first went to Sri Lanka, I didn't understand English or Sinhala. Yeah, so I had no way to communicate with anyone.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so in Sri Lanka it was like, oh my god, it's a new different world, and then like I was mute, like I couldn't talk to anyone. No one approaches me because they can't talk to me. Like I won't understand them and they won't understand me. So like it took a while for me to adjust.
Interesting. I think I spoke the language, but it was so like monotone that
Oh.
people were like, why is this kid speaking so formally? Like I learned, so the only source before I moved back to Indonesia, the only source of Indonesian was like my parents or like the TV when my mom would, watch some dramas. And I was like, oh yeah, let's copy that. And I went back to Indo and then they're like, the hell? What is this Indo you speak of? Like I never learned the grammar, so it's like I don't know.
The structure?
Yeah, the structure of sentences. So I wasn't mute, but they definitely didn't understand me. They're like, why does this kid speak German? She is Asian.
Yeah, people should understand, right? Like
Yeah, we live in a global society now, so it should be like easy for people to accept that kids can speak different languages nowadays.
and they look different.
And
like,
look
different.
Culturally, did you face any like culture shock when you moved from Japan to Sri Lanka?
Yeah.
Because Japanese food is like very gentle, natural
Yeah.
flavors and fresh
Mhm.
flavors, right? And Sri Lanka is all like spices.
I couldn't eat anything outside, like in Sri Lanka. I had to eat like everything my mom cooks, so I can't go out with my friends or anything because I can't eat out with my friends because anywhere I go it's like spicy or like I can't eat for hot food because like in Japan I did like all the food there is like the natural flavor, so it's like people call it bland, but for me it's not bland. Yeah, so in Sri Lanka the like food was very strong flavored, right? I'm not used to that, so my mom was always cooking, and then even for like food, like meals and everything, she was preparing.
Yeah, because you didn't, I think until recently you've never tried chai,
Yeah.
which is weird because you lived 3 years in Sri Lanka.
I never tried anything. Yeah, and then another thing is in Japan I didn't have a religion, and that was not a problem because in Japan everyone celebrates all the religion there. So like they celebrate like the weddings in like Christian way, funerals in Buddhist way, and stuff like that. They celebrate everything, like even Christmas, like and stuff like that. But then when I went to Sri Lanka, it was weird that I didn't have a religion. Like people judge you for not having a religion.
Really?
So like, yeah, they think that we are not cultured if like you don't have a religion, like not brought up properly. So like I had to go to a Buddhist school for 3 years. So I was a Buddhist in Sri Lanka for 3 years.
Okay.
So chaotic.
Yeah, my life was chaotic.
That's interesting.
Did you get stomach aches when you ate like Sri Lankan food? Did you try, or did you just like I tasted it and
I tasted it and it's spicy, so I'm just okay. No. Yeah.
You didn't force yourself to
Nope.
eat more.
Nope.
What if when you went to your friend's house?
Yeah, what would you eat? Would you
Remember, I didn't speak the languages, so it's only like the final year I was there, like the third year, I could speak a bit of English. I made friends after, like when I'm like about to leave the country.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I feel that.
It happens when you move around the country. And then like in Japan, since like English is not common, I was brought up speaking only Japanese. So like
Yeah.
and Sri Lankan, these languages are like we don't use it at all. So when I went to
I'm sorry, friend, but I had a friend who accidentally enrolled himself in a Japanese university and then found out everything was Japanese. I'm sorry, I'm telling the story. And then you're like, oh no. He's like, all right.
Did he fit in though?
Nope. I think he moved to another university.
Oh, yeah, it's a problem.
But that was so funny. In Germany, for example, if the university is mostly in German, sometimes they will let you like speak in English or like write in English. It's just like I think the questions were in German. But then in Japan, my other friend told me, it was like, so like everything was in Japan. I don't know how I got in, and it's so cool. Like they want me to read in Japan, and I was like, how did you get in there?
Very difficult to survive in Japan without Japanese. You need Japanese to like live in Japan. Yeah.
How did your parents learn Japanese?
They actually got scholarship to go to Japan to study, and then from there they enrolled to a school where they teach like Japanese from the beginning. And then after that, for 1 year they studied Japanese first, and then they continued their PhD there.
Yeah, I think you told me you were born when they were doing their PhD.
Yeah.
That sounds so easy. My friend's like, I tried. It didn't work out.
Tried what?
Like studying he started to study Japan, but it's like hard.
Oh, I thought giving birth.
Not giving birth. He's a guy. He can't give birth.
You said my friend tried. I thought you were talking about how she was born during their PhD.
No, I mean they tried, because like studying the language when you're older is harder. Like the only reason why I can like speak German very well and gain it like back really fast is because I lived in the country, so it's never gone. But then if you like try to make me translate the document in Indonesia, I'm like, man, I'm out.
I think that's the same for me, because I think what happens is children pick up languages easy, but then they drop languages as easily. So my first language was actually Mandarin. So my parents raised me apparently trying to speak Mandarin. But when I went to kindergarten, then everyone spoke English, and I was just sitting there like, why doesn't anyone understand what I'm saying? I didn't realize until years later, apparently I was not speaking in English. So my parents completely switched to English, and they raised me speaking English. And I completely forgot Mandarin until I went to Taiwan to study Mandarin for like 6 months.
Oh wow.
In Japanese, there's different accents too, right? Because I remember coming back from Germany, I was more in the countryside. So coming back, I had a German accent that was like not the higher German, more like the southern German accent, I guess. And my friends were like, what is she saying? My dad's like, oh no, I forgot to tell her that your friends all have accents. And then I'm like, You tell me this now, 10 years later.
Oh yeah, I think you mentioned like you had a more Bavarian slang, was it?
Yeah, there's like a lot of slang I picked up. And then the school I went to, it was more in the capital city, which means the German was more higher German. So like the things you see in TV shows or something.
And you lived in Tsukuba, was it?
Yeah, Tsukuba. I was born in a university. Like when
Yeah, I get that. I was like, what?
I was born in Tsukuba University, like hospital, where like my mom was like giving birth in front of like the doctor was like showing the students how like this is how you give birth, like this is not how you give birth, this is how you take out the baby out of the like because I was born in a university, right? So it was all exposed to the students, like the doctors, like trainees and everything. They were watching my mom giving birth. Like it's like, yeah, I was born in a hospital, like in a university hospital. So like it was.
Did she consent to this?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
Okay. I thought your mom was like, oh no, the baby's out. We need to do it now.
But can you imagine being the doctor that like, okay guys, we've got consent from one of these mothers who's gonna be giving birth. Here's her scheduled delivery, but she might like give birth at any moment, so everyone be ready.
What did it tell the students? Was like, yeah, this girl has.
No. My mom actually had a C-section, so like they were teaching how to give C-section. So like they didn't have to do like.
Okay, that makes more sense because if you wait for a pregnant, like I was out 1 month late. That would be like.
I was out like 1 month early.
That's it. Basically not on time.
Yeah. That's why C-section.
Do they have accents in Tsukuba?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ibaraki Ben. It's a Ibaraki dialect. Ibaraki is Tsukuba is in Ibaraki. That's the prefecture name. They have different different dialects to different places. Tokyo speaks the like proper. You say like the proper Japanese. Like but other places are all dialects. But then it's interesting though, because you can understand. But then like it's very fun to talk with people from other dialects.
Do they understand though? Like when you speak your accent?
Yeah, it's like Tsukuba is not really like that like hardcore like accent, like because it's not far from Tokyo. It's only like 60 kilometers away from Tokyo, Tsukuba and Tokyo. So it's like not much difference. But if you go to Osaka and all, the Osaka dialect and all.
I only know this because of Conan. Because like
Conan, which still hasn't ended, like
it's been 25 years to reveal it. It was
Osaka has the like best comedians because of the accent.
I think I've heard some of like the Kansai accent style, and I'm just like, what are they saying?
Like nande is like nande ya ne.
Yeah. Nande ya ne.
And I was like, okay.
What are you saying? I don't understand your Japanese.
I already am reading the subtitles. Slow down.
And nani yatteru no is like nani yattonno?
Yeah. It has a lot of like additional stuff, and then it goes like.
Oh, it's like melody.
It's like a melody. Yeah, they call it lyrical, right?
Oh.
It comes from everywhere influence.
Mm.
So, when we were discussing what to talk about during this podcast, you mentioned,
oh no,
you want to hear earthquake stories.
Yeah, why?
And then you said that you survived Fukushima.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
So,
Wait, explain Fukushima for those who don't know.
Yeah, there was a like earthquake, one of the biggest earthquake that hit Japan in 2011, March 11th, I think. The earthquake hit in the ocean, like magnitude 9.8. It caused tsunami, and then it broke the nuclear power plants in Fukushima, and then the earthquake was so big nearby the ocean. So we all felt the earthquake, and it was so huge that some of the buildings cracked, and then all that. And so when this earthquake happened, I was at school with my brother, which was 2 hours away from my house. I go to school using train and everything. I was at school that time. My dad was at home, and my mom was like in a restaurant working. And then so when the earthquake happened, like since it was a big one, right? So at first,
why is this funny to you?
it's so
we
funny.
We grew up in the Ring of Fire with no earthquakes.
No, like it was funny when it happened because I was on the 4th floor of the school, 4th floor, and then when it happened, like we were making jokes because earthquake is nothing like extraordinary in Japan. It's like a normal thing that's happening. So like one of the like kids were like joking. Do you think that kid is like jumping up, jumping in the room upstairs because like there was this
Oh, he must regret that.
yeah, and then because at first like it's like just moving softly, okay, before it became like very big. So like when the lights started falling, like the lights started falling, everyone was screaming and went underneath the table, like how teachers are instructed. But then our teacher was so funny because usually the teachers are the ones who's supposed to like guide the kids to down, right? She freaked out more than us, and she couldn't come out of the table that time. She was inside like putting her head under the table and sitting there. But then one of the kids realized that this is a serious earthquake and then told us to line up. It was our class like rep or someone.
Yeah.
So he told us to line up and then go down the stairs slowly because the elevators are like don't use elevators when earthquake, right?
Yep.
So the stairs and everything was moving. You can't really go down also without holding onto it. Like the ground is moving so much, and you can feel the building moving also because Japanese buildings are made that way to move with the earthquake so that the damage to the buildings are lesser.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I do know if you're in the upper floor, it shakes more, right?
Yeah, shakes more. But
like jelly, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like.
Okay, not like this, but like.
No, not like.
Yeah, the buildings in Japan are made to move with the earthquake, so that the damage that like made to the like walls and all are like like less. So like we had to move downstairs to the ground, like where nothing can fall on us.
Yeah.
Like to the ground area. So like we were there, like, and then the earthquake stopped after 10 minutes or something. And then after that, the second one hit. So by then, like, it was around like 4 p.m. or something. But then, like, we couldn't call like anyone. We couldn't call like parents or anything because it was all jammed. The calls, everyone was at this point calling each other, right, in whole of Japan.
Yeah.
So like no connection at all. So at that time, my dad was like nearby to my mom. So my dad decided to go to my mom first, like in the restaurant. Yeah, when he was driving to the restaurant, the car was also bumpy because the second earthquake hit, right? So like when he was driving,
you don't really feel it when you're.
Wait.
And then you feel it kind of less in the car, so it might be like, oh, it's just me bad driving.
No, you feel it bouncing when the
Yeah.
very big. Yeah, you can feel it bouncing. Yeah, so he rescued my mom and then went to a rice field. Like in a rice field area, there's nothing to come down, right?
Yeah.
So like,
okay.
yeah. So there, like my mom's friends and all were in a van, like in the rice field area, and then my dad decided to come pick us up because trains and all are like paused at that time because when earthquake happens, no trains and nothing moves at that time, and then highways will be closed also. So
just in case they collapse, right?
Yeah. So he had to use his car, go in the not the highway but the down, the normal road.
The normal, downway.
Yes, I know the normal road.
Yeah, the normal road to come pick us up, but then because of the traffic, because you can't use the highway, right? And then everyone is panicking and everyone is trying to pick up their kids and everything. The traffic was so bad. So he came 12 hours later to our like everyone. But then I spent the night in a van. Like, but then it was so fun though because everyone's parents were late. So like everyone's parents were late. So like we went to the gymnasium to play tennis or badminton. And then after that,
How old were you?
I think 14, 13. I don't know.
Okay, I get it. Why?
Yeah, and then we were like, we went back to the van in the the ground area so that we can sleep there until our parents came. So one by one, our the friends went with the parents, and then like my parents also arrived like 12 hours later driving because of the traffic, right? And he picked us up, and then again 12 hours back to our house.
And I thought Jakarta traffic was terrible.
Yeah, during earthquake, the traffic was terrible.
But then the interesting thing about like countries like Taiwan, I'm guessing Japan, I heard this happens in Korea too, is even if you use temporary SIM cards, the government sends you alert like, hey, there's an earthquake happening, or there's going to be like, warning, there's this earthquake. I heard this happen now in the pandemic. The Korean people get alert daily about what the situation is straight from the government. This doesn't happen in the UK. But my phone made a noise that like I've never recognized before because it wasn't applicable in Indonesia until recently. But is it through text?
Yeah, text. It says like,
I didn't get it as a text. I get it as like this weird like kind of warning sound that appeared on my iPhone, and I was very confused, and it turned out to be a government alert of like earthquakes, rains, and stuff like that. When it came to earthquakes though, I remember just sitting at home. I didn't get the alert, and suddenly you can feel like, oh, wow, the building was wobbling a bit, and then it just stopped. But no one's rushing out, no one's like panicking, there's no alarm, no cars are going off, and that's it. That was the whole earthquake.
I had a earthquake in my school, in middle school. Oh, fun! The funny part is, the same as you, the teacher was like more like, So like, you know how in earthquakes you have to go down and like wait until it stops shaking. It didn't shake like a lot, but then it did shake more than significantly. So like it was also like after school, so a lot of students weren't there anymore, but I was there with a couple of friends, and then it started to shake a bit. So we went, down like we are supposed to do, and this teacher's like, oh my god, it's an earthquake, and then he ran out the door, and then he came back and was like, why are you guys not running? And we were like, because it's still shaking. And then you look outside, all the teachers like, you guys have to go up. I'm thankful this wasn't like a very shaky earthquake. It was just kind of a bit more shaky than normal. Just imagine this teacher like running, and then like the roof falls off.
That's not funny, Mars.
I mean, like, it's not, but like he wasn't doing it correctly either.
Yeah, these stories are like funny in hindsight, but in the situation.
It was up in the situation too.
What?
It wasn't funny, but like
like Fukushima. Ours are like minor earthquakes.
Yeah, minor earthquake. But just thinking about like if they treat us like that in minor earthquakes, what happens if it's like because we do live in a place where earthquake happens quite a lot, but it's just not like the big ones don't happen a lot.
Like, are there a lot of volcanoes?
Oh yeah, Indonesia has the most volcanoes in the world.
It's called the Ring of Fire because we live in many big volcanoes.
Because in Japan they have earthquake frequently because of the volcanoes.
But also I heard like it's because Japan is in between two tectonic plates, is it?
It's that also, and then like because of the the tectonic plates, because of the earth and like volcanoes, it's 75% volcanoes or something in Japan.
75% volcanoes.
Yeah.
But we're the one with the most volcanoes, so how much?
Yeah. Not 100, but we're all more like Indonesia's a lot of islands, right? So it depends which volcano that hits where the earthquake happened.
Great. So now
what does the password mean to you, like to be that citizenship?
No,
does it feel weird?
No, I never thought it's like weird or anything, because like I don't even know what's my identity, because like in Japan, like I feel like I belong there because I speak the language fluently without an accent and everything, but I don't look like a Japanese. So, and then like when I go to Sri Lanka, like I look like one, but then like I don't speak the language as fluent, and then I have an accent. So like, and then the fact that I don't have earrings is another thing.
Oh, I don't have earrings.
I don't have holes in my ears because like I don't have piercing because I was born in Japan. They think like piercing as a child is abuse, it's like I don't know, my grandma was also there when my mom gave birth, but then they didn't allow.
So your grandma was with the students studying C-sections.
And she was like, give the piercing or something because my grandma is Sri Lankan, right?
Yeah.
The story gets better.
In Sri Lanka, it's like traditional thing to get a piercing when you're born. But then in Japan, they say it's abuse, and then also when you go to primary school, kindergarten and all that, because it's like a abnormal thing. So people will play with your try to pull the earring off your ears and everything. So the kids don't know, right? Kids never saw earrings and everything.
Yeah, makes sense.
So they'll pull, and then that can hurt the child, right? So even the foreigners that was brought up somewhere else coming to Japan as a kindergarten student couldn't wear earrings, so their holes, the piercing holes.
Oh, it closes, right? Because you need to.
It closes after a while, because in schools you're not allowed to wear accessories or anything.
I'm the only member in my family until recently. My youngest sister was forced into getting ear piercing.
Yeah, I don't have one either.
I'm actually grateful I don't remember the piercing process. I don't know why my mom decided that I'm the only one in the family with piercings, but I'm definitely grateful that my mom did it as a child because I don't remember it. And now I can just wear earrings freely.
Her mom did it for my mom, and she just did it with a needle.
Oh my goodness.
And then I remember because my mom was like, when she did to me, she did in the other ear wrong. And then my dad got so horrified, and then they're like, you know what? You should have one. Decide later.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Do you put something to numb your ear or something, or just poke it?
My mom I don't have earrings. My dad's like, no, she can decide whatever she wants to. And I don't want to, whatever, it's an earring. My mom's mom, she did it with the needle. So I think there's a cushion like this, and then with a needle. Needle. I know.
And people say potato, which makes no sense.
It's like in Parent Trap, where the movie.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
No, I don't even want to have piercing, because why would you remove tissues for decoration purpose?
For decoration purpose. That's precisely it, for decoration purpose.
Well, in Indonesia, it's earrings is so if you have earrings, you're a girl.
Yeah, they have this idea in Sri Lanka, which is why they found it weird that I don't have piercings in Sri Lanka, so I never fit in that way also.
Same, my family is like, you're not a girl, you need earrings, and I'm like,
but then you also go to uni in the Uni of Nottingham in Malaysia, right? So you've experienced 3 different sectors of Asia.
Yeah.
Completely.
You think I'm chaotic? Allah.
You are chaotic too.
I'm born and raised in Indo. I'm just Chinese Indonesian, that's it. My mom was raised sort of in Singapore. And so there is a bit of Singaporean culture upbringing. That's about it. Yours, on the other hand, you're Sri Lankan, raised in Japan, doesn't feel like you fit in Sri Lanka. Then you move to Malaysia.
I fit in Malaysia more than any of the 2 countries, I think, because in Malaysia have 3 different species.
I mean, we are animals, it's fine.
No, she just says species a lot. She calls our friends weird species all the time.
Because my English came from science. Because when I moved to Sri Lanka, I started learning English through science background, right? So my English is weird because it comes from science, reading reports and stuff like that.
Okay, go on. In Malaysia, they have 3
species, Chinese, Malaysian, Indian, Malaysian, Malays, right?
Yeah.
So
so more diverse, I guess.
Yeah. So I look like an Indian Malaysian. So people often talk to me in their language thinking I'm a local.
Yeah.
So I was So and everyone, there's no racism. And I never experienced racism in Malaysia. I don't know about other people. But then as an international student, I never felt I didn't belong in Malaysia. They were really open.
I guess compared to like Japan, other Southeast Asian countries are very.
Japan's not Southeast Asia.
Yeah, I know, but like, you also lived in Sri Lanka, right? Compared to that, I think there's more immigrants, as in, like Indonesia has so many Indians and Chinese, of course, and
I didn't realize that. I lived in the most Indian area in the city.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't realize this because growing up, I just thought it was normal.
Yeah.
But it turned out that my neighborhood has a 30% Indian population, which I didn't know about. Like Indian Indonesians, which we don't encounter very often.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you brought up thinking it's like common.
I thought that growing up it was common to see Indians in Indonesia. Then I went to high school, then I realized not at all. I think in primary school as well, I realized like they're not actually like a majority, a large minority. I think the Chinese Indonesians play a larger majority than the Indonesian Indians.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. Weirdly enough, I saw Indians in Taiwan. This is weird because to me, I look Chinese.
Yeah.
I come to Taiwan, everyone talks to me like I'm local. And then I say, I'm not Chinese, I'm not Taiwanese. And then I have to say like, what? I don't understand. Can you repeat that in English? But then one day I was walking with my grandma in the mall in Taiwan, and behind me there were these two Indian guys speaking fluent, accentless Mandarin.
You told me this.
And I was so confused. I'm like, there's two Indian guys behind me who speak better Mandarin than me. I should be ashamed of myself. It's such a strange experience. But yeah, Malaysia is quite diverse, but I think it might be different if you work and live there. But I understand that as an international student, it might be different.
Yeah, and the uni was also very diverse.
Because I know my friend's experience was not the same in Malaysia.
Yeah, so it's like different for different people, I guess. And then, yeah.
I think because you're also in university, I think in university people start being like, okay, maybe.
And also
not
come from a British university that has a branch in.
Yeah.
Also, you guys living in the UK, do you miss
That's great.
Asian food in general?
We always eat Asian food, right?
Yeah, we always eat Asian food.
Seriously? Like even in the
Yeah,
morning?
we don't eat fish and yeah, we don't go and eat fish.
Yeah, why would you?
I mean, I lived here for so I tend to mix my diet. Like sometimes I would eat more European meals, sometimes I eat more Asian meals. So it just depends on the day. That was probably why I struggled a bit in Taiwan as well, because Taiwan is weirdly enough more Asian than Southeast Asia. So
what does that mean?
Like the local traditional food is definitely much cheaper, more widely available than other stuff. So like it's more common to see Taiwanese fried chicken than like KFC. I'm not sure why, but they definitely do have very delicious fried chicken.
Yeah, like they specialize on it because of the influence of, I want to say America, but I don't remember. How is it living in the UK though? Like after living in Malaysia, I guess.
I didn't have like much to adjust because I'm like used to like adapting to new countries, like because I was frequently moving, right?
Yeah.
So like I came to UK also, I just came alone also. And then so like I could fit in like just like that because at this point I'm like, because for me the worst time was when I moved from Japan to Sri Lanka, to a country where I didn't understand any language, and that was the worst. So nothing else can be worse than that. So like, you know, I'm like, okay, I can fit in. I'm so at home now.
I feel your struggles.
Because you moved from like one of the big three East Asian countries. Then you moved to a South Asian country. Then you moved to Southeast Asia. Then you just exited the continent entirely, and you went to the UK.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's like, I just fit in now. Like it's because like, yeah, I'm so used to moving countries now that like, you know, it's just a part of my life now.
Where would you live if you had a choice though?
Maybe Japan, just because like it's my first language, and then more job opportunities, and I like the way of living there.
Thanks for coming into our podcast. That was definitely
I had fun.
super interesting to hear your story, especially from someone who also moves quite a lot.
Yeah, we can relate more.
Inga's just like,
I grew up in the same country I was raised in and born in.
And my favorite color is blue too, by the way.
every time they're like, Mars, what do you think the color should be? Choose the shade of blue. Occasionally I'll be like, okay, green, but it's all blue.
Yep. Oh no. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye.
Tune in next time to see who we have next. See you
Bye.
next time. Bye.
Hello, hi. Thank you for listening to the Peak Boredom Podcast. This is Mars and Inga signing off, and don't forget to tune in next week. Please. Bye.